Hello. So, we have a question from Stan Fredbrack, and he's saying, let's have a read here. Similar to yourself, I am a First Nations of the Upper Nicola band, and I am also having issues with mental health. I don't agree with their medicine and how it affects me. How can I get back at them? Well, the answer is quite simple. After years of dealing with mental health, they may try new options for medicine that they feel that might be beneficial to you. Maybe if you've developed a sore throat similar to me, which is directly caused by the medicine, or you may have some other health ailment that they don't take seriously because it is not life-threatening. They've kind of got you in a corner on that one. There's not really a lot you can do about it, but there are other ways of getting back at them. Eventually, most people, if you're a decent human being, will be taken off extended leave. I myself have been taken off extended leave many times. Well, not that many, but a few times. And I've chosen to stay on, and once or twice they've cooked up an excuse to put me back on it. But it's mostly transferring files from one district to another. It was more technicality. They didn't actually have reasons. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about. When you're taken off extended leave, you have the right not to take medicine. But they may still try other options. And being a First Nations, predominantly white, First Nations bands may look at you differently. They may figure, well, he's our white cousin, and therefore he hasn't suffered as we have throughout history from the white man's medicine. Therefore, he's got to take it on the chin. Which is a disadvantage, of course, but it can also be an advantage. A lot of medicines can be very expensive. I've been switched over to one such medicine called Invega. There's a medical name for it too. I think it's papadopodome or something. I forget. I don't care. It's on the internet anyway. Each injection well, they start you out at 150 milligram. That's just a standard start off, and that injection alone costs $1,300 Canadian. So that's quite expensive, and the 100 milligrams cost about $1,000. But the thing is, they have to buy 6 of them at a time. They come in packages of 6. Now, you may be wondering, oh, well, how can I use this to my advantage? Well, if you're anything like me, you're a voluntary patient and you're choosing to take this medicine, or you're choosing not to. The fact is, if they get your information from your status card, they will purchase this medicine with the idea that you'll be taking it. Of course, you could just change your mind if you're a voluntary patient. They could return it if you haven't been taken any of it, if they have not administered any of it to you. But Big Pharma isn't going to want to hand over $6,000 that easily. That's just a fact. They're not going to want to. So they will make it difficult, but eventually they would take it back. However, if you just take one injection of 100 milligrams and decide you don't want it anymore, they're stuck with it. They can't get rid of it. You can't return 5 out of 6 out of a package. So what I'm saying is, if you happen to be First Nations and your medicine is covered for, because not all these antipsychotic medications are covered by, I think it's called G-Plan. Sometimes First Nations takes the bill, and the thing is, they would be quite interested putting $6,000 into seeing you actually use the medicine. And if you're predominantly white First Nation, such as myself, they're going to be especially angry at you for not taking it. And although they will never confront you directly, they will have a long, in-depth conversation with mental health. So, in conclusion, if you take just enough of their medicine to keep them from being able to return it, mental health's on the hook for having the medicine, because they won't be able to give it to anybody else, and they can't make you take it, and they can't return it if you only take one. First Nations will be on the hook because they paid for it. And, well, that's one of those little funny things. It's entirely legal. It's perfectly within my rights not to take this Invega anymore. The thing is, you may wonder, well, why would you show your hand in a YouTube video? Why would you tell anybody? Why don't you just keep it a secret until after you've taken the injection? The answer is simple. Mental health is still in a state of denying that they even know the existence of my social media accounts. I know that's a load of baloney for various reasons. I know full well that they know all about my social media. And no doubt they will have seen this YouTube video within the matter of hours, if not days. So we'll see about that. $6,000, it may be chump change to Big Pharma and other industries, and also First Nations and mental health, but you know, that is a significant amount of money. And this doesn't just apply to predominantly white First Nations. There are also regular First Nations within mental health, and this is a way of getting back at them. If you are a voluntary patient, you do not have to take their medicine. It doesn't matter if it's been pre-ordered and it's arrived. You can change your mind at any given time, and if you don't give them a reason for them to institutionalize you and therefore put you back on extended leave and make you take medicine, they can do nothing to stop you from not taking it. So them holding $5,000 worth of inventory that they can't use on anyone else, they can't sell it, they can't return it, puts them in a spot of awkwardness with the First Nations, Indian Affairs. Because Indian Affairs just blew a whole pile of money on a drug that wasn't used. Well, we don't really know what goes on behind the scenes, if indeed that is what Indian Affairs paid for that particular medicine. They may get it cheaper than that. It may only cost $1,000, $1,300 if you as a regular citizen are buying it. I'm not entirely clear on that. I wouldn't know. I'm not in the industry. But I rather doubt it. Big Pharma's out there to make money, and they're out to make as much money as possible. And Indian Affairs has quite a bit of money. But, so they will squeeze every penny. And the thing is, this is not going to win me friends with Indian Affairs. But the fact that I've been on this medicine for so long, or you know, antipsychotic medication for so long, without a solid reason, 6 years is a long time, and I think it has to do with racial prejudice and institutionalized racism. I think I've been picked out to bear the brunt of unfair medicine and unethical medical treatment. And I was zeroed out because I was a predominantly white First Nation. So I feel like I've been discriminated against. And if all I can do is be a prick to them and cost them $6,000, I'll be happy to do it. Oh, if you're wondering about the jacket, this is an Italian 100% silk jacket from Bobbley's on Granville. My dad actually bought it in '95. The funny story behind it is that someone was holding that and he says to my dad, "Oh, is this silk?" And my dad's like, "No, it's polyester." So he puts it down, and then my dad snatches it and buys it. So that was quite funny. So this is a funny jacket. I like this jacket. So anyway, to sum things up, it's important to know that there are ways of being a prick to people who give you medicine that causes you physical pain. Knowledge is power, and if you spread the message exactly what certain medicines do, how much they cost, when and when you don't have to take them, it doesn't matter if people get mad at you or not. They'll never show that they're mad at you because they're snivelly snakes in the grass and they're cowards. They couldn't deal with you face to face. Because then they'd have to prove that they were wrong, that they were outsmarted by Dr. Stupid. And it's quite funny because it is totally within my right not to take medication. And if somebody's on the hook for spending a few $1,000s on medication that never gets used, why on earth should I care? It's no bother to me. It's not like my rights are going to get taken away in the future, or if they're going to, they would have anyway. So what difference does it make if I'm a prick now? Whatever's going to happen is what's going to happen if they start closing the door on programs for First Nations people, or if they decide that certain medications are just too expensive to administer to people of their particular band. Then there's not much a single video on YouTube is going to make a difference about. But a rare opportunity for me to be an enormous prick has come up, and I do believe I'm going to seize it. Mental health is going to get an earful from Indian Affairs when Indian Affairs finds out that I have decided just to take enough of the medicine to render it impossible to return. Whereas if I don't take any of it, it'll just be harder to return to Big Pharma. But if I take a little bit of it, like one injection from them, it will be impossible. I know I work in an industry where you cannot return goods if part of it is gone. Part of it's been used, part of it's been spent. You cannot bring it back. It becomes invalid. So there's going to be some people who are not going to be happy with me, and they're going to argue with other people because they have other interests in mind, and they come from a different perspective. None of these people have my best interests in mind, and I've got some news for you. I don't have your interest in mind either. I don't give a rat's ass about any of you. It's all about me. I'm number one, and I'm the thing I care about. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about mental health. I don't care about Big Pharma. To a lesser extent, I don't care about Indian Affairs, especially if they feel as though I should be on this antipsychotic medication, which could cause anything. Just because the medication is expensive doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, doesn't mean it doesn't work. You don't know these things. I'm going to find out, of course. And there may be some false safe ability that they have to lessen their losses if I decide not to take them, because they know what situation I'm in. They know that I can change my mind on taking medication as I please. I've made that perfectly clear to my psychiatrist and my case manager that if I do not feel like taking the medication, I will not. However, I know they will watch this video and they will pretend that they didn't when they go to talk to me, and if I were to bring it up, they would deny all knowledge of it and have little to do with it as far as conversation wise goes. I don't bring up the fact that I have a YouTube account too vocally in front of them. I have mentioned it here and there before, but I've never pushed the issue. I just casually mention it probably 2 or 3 times since I've known them. So that's something that I know they know, and I know they know I know, but I'm still going to be a prick, and there's nothing they can do to stop me. So anyway, I guess that sums up this video. This is another how to get back at Big Pharma. I'll tell you how. And if you're in a unique situation, it doesn't have to be Indian Affairs that's paying for your medicine. It could be anybody. If you're sick of taking medication, you want to cause a headache, you're a voluntary patient, you meet all the qualifications. You don't have to take the medicine anymore. And you can make them pay for it through the nose, and you don't have to take it. And they can't use it on anyone else because there's not enough of it. Or it's been, there's not enough of it, and they can't return it. So that's an interesting way to be a prick. I guess my closing statement would be, have fun, mental health. Good day.